The last breath. The humid Hong Kong air weighed heavily on Bruce Lee's shoulders as he walked across the courtyard of Ip Man's gym. The wooden walls creaked under the weight of years, and the smell of old sweat and snake oil mingled with the incense burning in a corner. He had heard the stories, how the old master, already over 60 years old, still moved like a shadow, how his blows were so precise that they seemed not to exist until it was too late. Bruce was no longer the arrogant young man who challenged masters on the streets. He had already proven his worth, but something consumed him, the feeling that, no matter how hard he trained, something was still missing. Something only a man like Ip Man could give you. The master was sitting on a low bench, his hands resting on his knees, his eyes half closed. He didn't look up when Bruce approached. "Sifu," said Bruce, bowing slightly. "I came to ask you to teach me." Ip Man didn't move. He just took a deep breath, as if the air around them was part of an invisible test. "What do you want to learn?" he asked, his voice so soft that Bruce had to lean in to hear. "All." An almost imperceptible smile touched the master's lips. "Then start with nothing." Before Bruce could respond, Ip Man raised his hand in a movement so quick it seemed like an illusion. A sharp slap hit Bruce's chest, not hard, but with a precision that made him stagger. He hadn't seen the blow coming. "I hadn't felt the blow coming." "You move as if the world were waiting for you," said Ip Man, returning to his starting position. "But the fight doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait." Bruce felt the blood pounding in his temples. It wasn't anger, it was shame. Shame for having thought I knew something. "Sifu," he murmured, lowering his head. "Please." Ip Man closed his eyes. For a moment, Bruce thought he had fallen asleep. Then the master spoke, and his words were like a sharp blade. "Breathe." Bruce obeyed. He took a deep breath, feeling the air fill his lungs. "Now let go." He exhaled. Again. Inspired. "Let go." He exhaled. Once again. And then, before Bruce could complete the third cycle, Ip Man stood up in one fluid movement, as if he had no bones. His right hand shot out, not toward Bruce's face, not toward his chest, but toward the empty space between them. And then, without warning, Bruce felt the world spin. He was on the floor. I didn't know how I had fallen. He didn't know if he had been knocked over or if he had simply lost his balance. When he looked up, Ip Man was already back on the bench, as if he had never moved. "What was that?" asked Bruce, panting. "A lesson," said Ip Man, "and it's over." Bruce was silent. There was no pain, no mark, just the feeling that something inside him had broken and reformed in a single instant. "You said you wanted to learn everything," continued the master. "But the real combat is not in the blows, nor in the forms. It is in the space between inhalation and exhalation. By the time you think you're ready, you've already lost." Bruce stood up slowly, feeling the weight of that truth. It wasn't a technique that Ip Man had taught him. It was something deeper, an understanding that couldn't be conveyed in words, only experienced. "Thank you, Sifu," he said, bowing deeply. Ip Man did not respond. He just closed his eyes again, as if the lesson had already dissipated into thin air. And so, in a single breath, Bruce Lee learned more than in all his years of training.